First, a little about the Corporate Relocation Survey. The survey was open from January 6th through February 28th of this year. To qualify for the survey, respondents had to work for a company that has either relocated employees in the last 2 years or plans to relocate employees this year. Most of the survey respondents work in relocation services or in human resources and personnel departments. Small and mid-sized companies both had equal representation in our survey this year, with 37% of respondents for each category. 27% of respondents came from large companies. This year, one of the earliest signs of spring for us was in the number of respondents who took part in the survey. In 2010, less than 275 people responded. This year, 408 people took the time to respond. The last time we saw more than 400 respondents was in 2006, well before the start of the recession. While we can't prove it, our gut feeling is that this increase is a sign that people are emerging from a frigid winter into the warmth of spring. And our survey shows that our respondents are clearly feeling spring in the air. 72% of our respondents feel their company's overall financial performance will be better in 2011 than in 2010. This is an improvement over last year, when 63% of those surveyed felt confidence in the performance of their company. Now let's see how you are feeling about the economy. Got your keypads ready? Got a question for you. Will the economy in 2011 be 1, better than 2010, 2, worse than 2010, 3, the same as 2010? Remember, you have 10 seconds to respond. Let's vote now.
Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the lights.
All right, now let's see what your results show. All right. A little optimism in the underlying music helped your mood too a little bit? Good. All right. Let's compare your results with those of our survey respondents. More than 90% of those surveyed said that the economy would be the same or better this year than last, with more than 54% feeling optimistic about that the economy will improve. Compare that to last year's results, where only 45% of those surveys felt the economy would improve. This year, just 6% of the respondents feel the economy will worsen in 2011, tracking with what people felt in 2010. But 2 years ago, 65% of those surveyed felt the economy would grow worse in the coming year. We've come a long way since then. Let's take a look at how respondents feel about the real estate market. More than half of all companies, regardless of size, expect stability in the market, and approximately a third expect to see improvement in the market. Though the number of people who expect real estate market conditions to improve is slightly less than last year's results, the overall trend in this area shows an expectation of stability or improvement. The emerging confidence in company performance and the economy is being reflected in relocation volume. The 2011 results show even more optimism than last year. More than half, 58% in fact, say relocation volume will stay the same as in 2010, and 30% say it will increase. Only 13% say it will decrease, which is a big improvement over 2010, when more than 25% of those surveyed believed relocation volume would decrease. Internationally, overall relocation volume is expected to improve in 2011 compared to the last 2 years. More than 28% expect an increase in volume this year, and 56% expect international volumes to remain the same as 2010. The larger the size of the firm, the greater the optimism. Of the large firms surveyed, 41%, almost half, are expecting more international relocations. 25% of the mid-sized firm expect an increase in international relocations. Of the small firms surveyed, only 15% expect increases, and 27% of them actually expect decreases. Please watch the screen to see what one of your peers has to say about her expectations relative to international relocations.
Growth is definitely international. We are seeing a big increase in global assignments, short-term business trips, long-term, permanent, you name it. It's all across the board. Many of our clients are opening up in many different areas of the world, and that is a big area of growth for us.
What about relocation budgets? Almost 60% feel that relocation budgets will stay the same. 27% feel relocation budgets will increase in 2011, while only 13% feel their budgets will be reduced. Economic and market pressures seem to have had less impact on relocation last year in 2010. In both 2008 and 2009, market and economic pressures decreased relocations for entry-level, new hire, and middle management positions by approximately 40%. Last year, this number dipped to just over 25%, a significant improvement over the previous 2 years. The majority of firms of all sizes indicated that economic and market pressures had no effect on the duration of relocation assignments, either short-term or long-term. Please watch the screen and let's hear from one of your peers about the impact of economic and market conditions on relocations.
It made fewer relocations. The relocations that we did have were more difficult. Just from a logistical standpoint, from the emotional standpoint, I think is where you saw it more than anything. In the past, it was, hey, great opportunity, going to the new location, the company's going to take care of my home or my property, help me in the new location. I think you saw more of a hesitancy for employees or partners to move to the new location.
External factors impacting relocation volume in 2010 show a very interesting shift back toward normal, though clearly we're not there yet. In 2009, for the first time since 2003, economic conditions surpassed lack of qualified people as the most significant factor impacting volume, and by a wide margin. In 2010, the factor shifted so that economic conditions and lack of qualified people had equal impact at 40%. These factors point to the beginning of a turnaround after the protracted recession. However, the ongoing slump in real estate is a key factor inhibiting relocation and could have a negative impact on relocation volumes that could be generated by the emerging recovery. Let's take another poll to see what you feel is the most significant internal condition impacting relocation volume. Everyone have their keypads? What internal condition has most impacted relocations at your company? Press 1 for company growth, 2 for knowledge or skills transfer, 3 for budget constraints, 4 for corporate reorganizations, or 5 something else or other. Let's vote now. Here are your results. Okay. Budget constraints still the largest, followed by company growth. Well, that's a good thing. Followed by corporate reorganization and knowledge skills transfers. Okay, interesting. With our survey, the response for this category suggests that spring has arrived finally. In 2009, we saw a huge change in this category. Budget constraints surpassed company growth for the first time in many years, consistent with your feedback. In 2010, budget constraints have dropped in importance as an issue, 21% in 2010 compared to 29% in 2009. And company growth emerged once again as the most significant internal factor on the number of employee relocations, reversing last year's surprising trend. However, the severity of the recession may mean that a protracted recovery period will be needed before company growth will be as significant a factor in relocation volume as it was in pre-recession times. Did employees decline the opportunity to relocate? For nearly 60% of our respondents, the answer was yes. However, increased employee reluctance remains elevated at levels first seen in 2007, when the mortgage and housing concerns became significant. Clearly, while we're seeing green shoots emerge from the frost-covered ground, the effects of the recession can still be felt. Please grab your keypads again. I'd like to take another poll, if I may. What factor do you feel is the most likely to prevent an employee from relocating? Press 1 for housing or mortgage concerns, 2 for family issues and ties, 3 for spouse or partner employment, or 4, something else. Let's vote now.
I feel good. I knew that I would. I feel good.
Okay, we'll dance like James Brown tonight at the Howl at the Moon, okay? All right, let's see how you responded. Wow, okay, not surprising. By a landslide, housing mortgage concerns. It's still a soft real estate market. Some markets are living the dream a little bit more than others too. So let's compare that to the survey results. For the third year in a row, our survey respondents indicate that housing and mortgage concerns remain the top reason to decline a relocation at 69%. Family issues were second, followed by the spouse or partner's employment. With such reluctance to move, how are companies helping employees make the decision to relocate? More than half the companies who responded to the survey, 67%, use incentives to encourage an employee to relocate. Our survey indicates that smaller firms are less likely to offer incentives than mid-size and large companies. Extending housing benefits was the most popular incentive, offered by 77% of the companies in the survey. Relocation bonuses and loss on sale protection rounded out the top 3. Incentives can depend on the size of the company. Relocation bonuses were offered across all companies, regardless of size, excuse me, while loss on sale protection was more likely to be offered by mid-size or large firms. Most firms, 61%, also employ cost containment measures with their relocation incentives. Nearly a third of respondents capped relocation benefit amounts. 22% reviewed or renegotiated supplier contracts. And approximately 20% of the respondents limited miscellaneous allowance benefits. Large firms have initiated a greater number of cost containment measures, including pre-decision counseling, reviewing or renegotiating supplier contracts, excuse me, and offering extended travel or commuter arrangements instead of relocation. Our final category today looks at reimbursement trends. Though full reimbursement is still the most popular method used for transferees at 57%, lump sum and partial reimbursements continue to grow in popularity, with nearly half the companies in our survey indicating that they use these methods. Again, size does matter in this category. Smaller firms are less likely to offer a lump sum option than medium or large firms, while large firms remain the most likely to offer full reimbursement. These are some of the key highlights of our 2011 Corporate Relocation Survey. At Atlas, we're seeing signs of spring all around us, and our 2011 Corporate Relocation Survey tells us that our customers are beginning to feel the thaw too. Again, thank you for coming to the forum on moving. We appreciate the ability to share the results of our survey with you. It's not quite summertime yet, but it's time to start preparing for the growth to come.